Chapter 15, Constitutional and Legal Framework for a Custodianship Republic. A transformation as profound as expropriating land and strategic sectors to the custodianship of the state must be anchored in law. Without a robust, just, and people driven legal framework, custodianship risks becoming either authoritarian or symbolic. This chapter outlines how we reform the Constitution, laws, and institutions to legally enshrine the new paradigm of custodianship, ensuring it is accountable, democratic, and irreversible. 1. Amending the Constitution from ownership to stewardship. The foundation of a custodianship republic must be laid in the Constitution itself. Proposed constitutional amendments. Section 25, Property Clause, must be rewritten to abolish private ownership of land, water, and strategic resources, replacing it with state custodianship in the public interest. Define land, minerals, energy, data, and water as inalienable commons. Introduce a right to access land and resources, governed by public benefit, not market forces. Guarantee ecological protection and generational justice as fundamental constitutional principles. 2. A Custodianship Act, the legal backbone. Draft and pass a Custodianship Act to operationalize state custodianship in all strategic sectors. Key provisions include definition of strategic assets and custodianship principles, non-transferable, use-based, community first. Establishment of People's Resource Councils to govern allocation, monitoring, and dispute resolution. Strict anti-corruption clauses, transparency protocols, and community oversight systems. Emergency provisions for transition, including land audits, expropriation processes, and tenure reform. 3. Establishing the People's Resource Authority, PRA. Create a People's Resource Authority as an independent public body to administer and oversee all custodianship operations. Mandates. Conduct a national land and resource audit. Process applications for use rights, prioritizing community needs, co-ops, and ecologically sustainable projects. Monitor environmental and social impact of allocated resources. Enforce use it or lose it policies to prevent hoarding or misuse. Governance structure. Appointed by Parliament with community, scientific, legal, and indigenous representation. Subject to public scrutiny and quarterly national performance reporting. 4. Reforming land and resource law. Land tenure, mining licenses, water rights, and business permits must be rewritten to align with custodianship. Key reforms. All land is leased, not sold, with lease terms tied to social benefit and ecological care. Mining and exploration licenses require proof of community benefit, ecological safety, and local consent. Water access must be equitable, non-commercial, and managed through local water councils. All foreign companies operating in strategic sectors must operate under custodianship license, with capped profits and community partnership models. 5. Judicial reform and legal access. Without access to justice, rights become theoretical. Under a custodianship republic, establish custodianship legal clinics across all provinces to help people navigate the new system. Train a new generation of people's lawyers skilled in environmental law, community rights, and cooperative economics. Reform the judiciary to reflect transformative constitutionalism, prioritizing public interest law over procedural elitism. Fast-track land and resource disputes using indigenous mediation systems combined with constitutional law. 6. Protecting the public from capture to prevent new forms of elite control over public resources. Ban political leaders from personally benefiting from resource allocations or custodianship programs. Enforce lifetime transparency declarations for officials managing strategic resources. Implement blockchain-based tracking systems for land resource allocations to ensure full transparency. Enshrine in law that no future parliament may privatize custodianship assets without a national referendum. 7. Transitional justice for historical land theft. True justice demands acknowledging and repairing past dispossession. Legal actions. Establish a National Land Truth Commission to document theft, forced removals, and trauma. Offer symbolic restitution, memorials, museums, cultural rights, as well as practical justice, land access, development funds, education grants. Recognize the historic rights of indigenous and dispossessed communities, including land use traditions and sacred sites. 8. Aligning with international law. State custodianship must stand up to international scrutiny. Strategies. Draft a People's Declaration on Resource Sovereignty, aligning custodianship with global justice movements. Work with progressive governments and international law experts to defend custodianship at international courts and trade tribunals. Withdraw from trade treaties and investment agreements that undermine national control over resources. Conclusion of Chapter 15. The law is a living language of power. If written for the people, it becomes a shield. If written for the elite, it becomes a weapon. In a custodianship republic, we must speak the law in the name of justice, peace, and the future. Let the Constitution not protect property, but protect life. Let the law not defend ownership, but defend stewardship.